Yes, guys, I've seen the tweet that 800 of you have fucking tagged me in about Final Fantasy having more players than WoW. I'm going to look at that, okay? Final Fantasy XIV, I think that's 17. It's 14, right? I'm not gonna fuck around. Let me just explain it, right? Final Fantasy 14 becomes the most actively played MMORPG in the world, surpassing, excuse me, World of Warcraft this year. So this has been a very big thing that's happened, and I do want to talk about it, and we're gonna look through it. Now, I do want to also say we're gonna look at the way that they got these numbers, because I do think that the numbers are, I don't really see them reflecting at least like what I see, but we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. Final Fantasy becomes the most actively played MMORPG in the world, surpassing World of Warcraft this year. Update. First, to clarify again, actively played refers to players who log in and play Final Fantasy XIV repeatedly. This means both free trial players and subscribed players. Additionally, WoW and WoW Classic numbers are tracked separately. Details on how these stats are tracked and estimated are available here. Okay. Let's see what that is. With Endwalker on the horizon and Final Fantasy XIV free trial bringing in new players, the game just reached a major milestone. Final Fantasy XIV is now the most actively played MMORPG in the world, with nearly 2.5 million active players every day. This surpasses World of Warcraft and World of Warcraft Classic with 2.9 and 2.75 million respectively. So obviously if you combine the two, WoW is still like over a million ahead. But like besides that, it's not. For retail WoW only has 2 million players according to this website. Now obviously I do think this website is inaccurate, and I will explain why, but regardless we'll go ahead and look at it. These stats are recorded by MMO Population, which tracks player counts with API tools, Reddit, and other resources. I think that if you're judging, you think the amount of people that are on Reddit, so like Reddit is a way to determine how many people play the game. Okay, these estimates are accurate considering how many longtime Final Fantasy XIV players have seen a huge influx of sprouts of new players of returning old players throughout all the servers. In addition, many WoW players have made the jump to Final Fantasy XIV recently. Final Fantasy Endwalker releases number 23rd. Okay, so also a little tip here I'll give anybody who's like doing this is always read who the author of these things are. A huge fan of PC hardware JRPGs, with a passion in the Japanese gaming industry. So this person's obviously coming at it with a bias, right? Like they clearly, they want something to happen. Like this is the, whenever, and this is important to know, right? Whenever, this is the idea of the, like in the scientific method, right? It's the null hypothesis. Instead of trying to prove what you believe to be true, try to prove what you believe to not be true. And I think that this is something that's been lost on a lot of people. Now, I don't think this is necessarily true. I don't think so at all. Biased? Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll look at this. Yearly population chart. Okay, so let's see here. This is 2019. And this is, it's difficult to track hidden MMO subscriber numbers, but we do our best. By combining online social activity, sentiment tracking, public statistics, rankings, and more MMO populations estimates, the total subscribers, players, and active daily players for top MMOs above is the total number of tracked players by the site. So is this the, this is just overall MMO players, I guess, over time? I'm assuming that's what it is. Yeah, you're biased as well. You could say that, sure. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I think that, you know, whenever you're taking data like this, like for example, like I can believe this, activity score 2, absolutely, World of Warcraft is definitely really low, like 100%. And then active players only 2.9 million in World of Warcraft. Only 2.9 million. Holy shit. Research Reddit or social media avenues is WoW being more popular. As soon as it states otherwise, it's suddenly inaccurate, right? No, but I'm using a, it's a conglomerate of all of them, right? So like, for example, if one game is more popular on one website and you use that one website to derive the value of the popularity of that game as a whole, and you don't look at the other websites that have conflicting data, then that's what the problem is. So for example, you would want to look at Reddit, you would want to look at YouTube, you'd want to look at Twitch, you'd want to look at different image boards, you'd want to look at forum activity, you'd want to look at Steam activity, even though I think both of these games aren't really on Steam, and you can find congruencies between between the different platforms, but at the end of the day, you don't really know unless you're looking at all of them together. So it's not a matter of, like, let's say WoW is, like, if, for example, Call of Duty is a good example of this. Like, outside of Warzone, Call of Duty is extremely popular on YouTube. But if you looked at Twitch, you'd think Call of Duty is irrelevant, right? So it's important to understand where to look for these bits of information. And all I'm saying is that everywhere that I look, WoW is way farther ahead. That's what I'm saying. So if you use one bit of evidence, that doesn't necessarily mean anything if the other bits of evidence contradict it. Source? I mean, sure. I mean, like, how many... Look at the top 10 WoW content creators versus the top 10 Final Fantasy content creators. Look at the amount of concurrent viewers on Final Fantasy section versus the amount of concurrent viewers on the World of Warcraft section, even with me offline. There are way more people that are consuming World of Warcraft content. There are way more people that are playing the game. And it's also almost impossible to delineate between how many people are playing World of Warcraft versus World of Warcraft Classic. Final Fantasy content creators are boring, though? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of WoW content creators are boring too, but people still watch them because they like watching the game. It's the same thing with a lot of other people. Like, do you really think that all of those people that were really, really popular in Fortnite in 2018 were super entertaining? Fuck no, they were boring as shit, but people just watched them because they wanted to see the game. This does seem pretty, I mean, like, so let's see here. If we take this number, 5-year breakdown, let's see, what's the 5-year breakdown of World of Warcraft? So it seems like Shadowlands got way more people to play the game than BFA. So this is whenever BFA came out. I feel like 4 million people playing BFA is, like, totally not right. Like, there's no way that there wasn't more people. Monthly breakdown. It says, like, active players 6 million. Yeah, it's really kind of hard for me to take this seriously. COVID, bro? You think it was COVID? Well, I thought they said that they sold the same amount of box copies for BFA and Shadowlands, didn't they? Because Blizzard does release the data that they give you for how often or how many copies of BFA and Shadowlands were sold. No one buys box copy. I think they just consider it purchases of the game. Let me see. How many people? BFA opening sales. Let's see here. Battle for Azeroth becomes Blizzard's the fastest ever World of Warcraft expansion. First full day of launch, selling 3.4 million units. So that's 3.4 on the first day, and this shows 4.2. I feel like you'd probably have more people than that would play the game. I think so. Why do you have so much trouble accepting it? Why do you have so much trouble accepting, like, accepting something that you think, right? I don't, here, I'll go ahead and I'll give you an idea. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. And I really mean that. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not memeing. It doesn't really matter to me. Because at the end of the day, Fortnite has 1 million more players than WoW. Everybody likes Fortnite. I think if Final Fantasy got more players than WoW, that would be good for WoW. Because that would give Blizzard a boot in the ass to make the fucking game better. So if you actually want my opinion, I wish this was true. But that doesn't mean that it is. Just because you quit the game, just because other people quit the game, doesn't mean that you get to read a bunch of fucking data and automatically assume it's true because it fits your preconceived notion. All I'm saying is that I feel like the data and the acquisition method of the data is not necessarily accurate. It's like Legion. Didn't Legion come out at around this time? I feel like Legion came out in 2016. This seems like it only sold 2 million copies. Like, this seems untrue. Well, you're assuming the data is untrue because of your own notion? Well, no, not really. Well, I'm assuming it because of my own notion, you're right. But the notion that I am assuming it off of is something that's based off of data, right? Like, for example, if you go and you look at YouTube or something like that, you're going to see a lot more World of Warcraft content that's getting a lot more viewers, and a lot more people are consuming World of Warcraft content. And I think the big reason for that is because a lot of people play the game, so they're an endemic audience for that type of content. Now, if you go to Twitch, I think it's the same thing. Now, obviously, Twitch is a lot more personality driven, and I do think that the amount of people that have personalities and are entertaining does play a big role in how popular certain games are, especially things like Grand Theft Auto. But at the same time, whenever you look at a game that a lot of people are playing, you could easily assume that a lot of people playing a game would translate to a lot of people consuming content for that game. And also, another reason why that's true is the amount of people that are talking about it. Like, I get a lot of people on Twitter, for example, that do talk a lot about Final Fantasy. I feel like Final Fantasy on Twitter is probably the most popular thing, but the majority of people talking about Final Fantasy on Twitter are WoW players that are pissed off. Like, that's the truth. Is like, everybody that I see talking about this is fucking pissed off. Like, if I go and look at quote retweets, right? Let's see if I can find this. Final Fantasy did not beat WoW. WoW beat itself by making the fucking stupid but also meaningful decision to take a piece of paper with all the feedback and just burn it again. That's true. Asmon, just accept that you're wrong. Just accept it? Like, why would I just, like... I don't understand why people think that I'm... It's so weird to me that people just automatically believe this based off of an article that had to issue 2 corrections because it was misleading. It's an editorialized title because World of Warcraft is comprised of classic and retail players. And it even says in the article that classic and retail players are being counted separately so that they can make this as a title for clickbait. How do you not see this? How do you not see this? This is the same shit that all of these other companies do. I don't think that WoW has more, I don't think that Final Fantasy has more active players at all. I genuinely don't. And the reason why I think that is because it is literally my job to analyze and look at trends. I do this every day. I don't think this is true. And based off of private data that's being obtained that even they admit is not accurate, then yeah, I'm not going to just write a blank check and say it's true. And I have no reason to be afraid of it being true. I think that WoW is at its best whenever it's in a corner. I think that WoW is at its best whenever it's at its worst. Usually, the best things come out of WoW whenever the game is in a really bad situation. Look at Legion. I hope this is true in a lot of ways. Watch Twitch stats. Let me see. Most played games on Twitch. So we've got World of Warcraft is number 8. And then Final Fantasy is... Ooh. It's number 60 at 5.6 thousand. So that's way less. Like, that's like such a massive amount of a difference. It's such a huge difference, man. Now, obviously, again, none of these, I want to make sure this is very clear. None of these individual data points means anything. They only mean something when they're added together. Does that make sense? So whenever you put all of these things together, then that's really what makes the difference. It's not just one data point. Like, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean anything. None of these things mean anything unless you put all of them together and you're able to look at kind of at a general group, right? That's what I'm saying. I think Japanese people use English Twitch. So you think there's a lot of people that are... does this count Japanese people that are playing on, they're looking? Well, wait, couldn't you just use that argument for Chinese people playing WoW? I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like, WoW obviously has a massive Chinese audience, right? I mean, clearly. I mean, they're willing to silence people over it and, you know, like, make the game have, like, different types of content because of that. Yeah, I think those two things probably cancel each other out. And also, like, I mean, I think this is mainly for... US audiences. Like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, there's a lot of games that just completely shit on World of Warcraft. They completely shit on a lot of the other games on US because they are these massive Chinese games that everybody plays over there. And that's the truth. Like, they are so massive, they are so huge. A good example of this is PUBG. PUBG is extremely popular in China. People love PUBG. I don't know why. It doesn't seem fun to get shot through a wall. But maybe they fix the game. I think they'd probably fix the fucking game, though. Why are the viewers here so fragile about WoW? I think everybody's fragile about their game. Like, for example, if I even question, see, here's the thing, right? Is that if I even question the data, that it's even admittedly not accurate. They admit that it's not accurate. If I question it, then suddenly I'm on copium. Everybody, I think most people are trolling. Let's be honest. Most people are trolling. Is that here is the reason why a lot of people care about this. People care about this for a number of different reasons. That they care about it, number one, because it indicates a trend. So it either indicates a trend of the game dying or the game becoming more popular and growing. Now, nobody wants to play on a dying MMO. The reason why playing on a dying MMO is different than playing Super Mario World, that like almost nobody plays nowadays, is because the achievements and the accomplishments and the experience that you have in the game is derived by the population of the game. So if you have a massive accomplishment in the game and nobody is playing the game, nobody cares. But for example, if you're playing a massive popular game and you get invincible first on your server and there's a huge server and everybody sees you, that value is higher and your return on your time investment is more rewarded because you get to feel better about what you did. So that's why people care about MMO populations, but people also care about them in order to create some degree of justifying removing cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is just like basically whenever you make a decision, people look for things to validate that decision. They look for something to tell them, I made the right decision. So there's a lot of people out there that did. I mean, like, I know this. I think everybody knows this. There's a lot of people that did move over to Final Fantasy and from WoW. So whenever they see an article like this, this right here is vindication for them. This is like it makes them think that what they did is the right decision. And I think that's why articles like this are so popular. And that's why, because it tells people that made a decision that they made the right decision. Especially whenever I think a lot of them were moving away from something that they were emotionally attached from. Let's go ahead and let's just see what people are saying about this. I wanted to get down to this Bellier video. Yeah, we'll look at that in a few minutes, okay? Pretty awesome. Blizzard deserves a kick in the dick here. I get it. The meaningful choice Watcher Dev was talking about was why play WoW whenever other games exist. Next level, you sneaky devil. And then this was apparently tagged. I was tagged on this. I don't know why, but I was tagged on this. Once again, I'm asking people to stop using a site that lists WildStar as having 13K players as their source. Is that true? Like New World, yeah, you can't really base off of New World. Pantheon is like not like, how do you, like, Pantheon's not even out. What is this? WildStar is over here at, it's got 13K people playing. They shut the servers down. Yeah, what is this? Like, I don't even understand. Elite Dangerous, Conan Exiles, Black Desert Online, Destiny 2. Old school RuneScape. Oh, so it's, yeah, both RuneScapes together. Okay, I see. So old school RuneScape is actually ahead of WoW Classic. Roblox? Well, Roblox has a lot of people playing, right? Absolutely. Like, if you look at Roblox, I can't see how Roblox doesn't have more people than, like, pretty much all of these games put together. Like, I see Roblox content is extremely popular. Like, and I think, honestly, Roblox is another example of a blind spot. And I'll explain how this blind spot occurs. This blind spot occurs because you're not taking into account the amount of people that are kids, because Roblox is a game that appeals to kids. And many people on YouTube, like, for example, if you look at Roblox content, let's just go ahead and just pull this up. 1 million views 16 hours ago. Okay, I don't want to even think about that. 63,000 views 3 hours ago. 112 views. There are so many people consuming Roblox content. There are a lot of fucking people. Poor becomes rich. Like, look at these guys that are streaming Roblox. They are massively fucking popular. And this is all for kids. Like, this is all kid content. It's like, look at this here. 1.7 million views. Look at that fucking thumbnail. Absolutely beautiful thumbnail. Like, if you're 8 years old, you're clicking on that thumbnail 100%. And every single person that probably watched that is probably under 12. Not every person, but a lot of them are. This is young. And this is not a diss. This is not like me shit talking them or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that this game clearly has more people. There are more people that are watching videos about this game in 3 days than the amount of people that are consuming and are supposedly playing this entire fucking game. So you can clearly see that whenever you look at some of these different examples, the data doesn't match up. That's what I'm trying to get at. Regardless, let's go ahead and look at a few more of these posts, okay? Blizzard absolutely crying and shitting right now. My decision to drive headfirst into Final Fantasy XIV and kind of say fuck WoW seems to be community-backed via success of the game. And like this comment right here is exactly what I was saying before about people that are looking for validation. They are looking for information to validate their decisions. I can't speak for... Oh, this is Jesse Cox. I can't speak for anyone else, but during the height of the pandemic, this game did so much for my mental health. Amazing community, lovely story, and so many glorious potatoes. Congrats on your success. This is actually pretty big that Jesse Cox said this, because Jesse Cox used to be like, he used to be a huge fucking WoW guy, right? He is. No, Jesse Cox, listen, I've got nothing bad to say about Jesse. One time he gave me his ticket in, at a Wowhead party in like at BlizzCon like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't think he even know who I was, but he just did that for me. So my only interaction with this guy has been like very positive. So like anything else, like yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about him. So regardless, what I'm saying is that he's been a WoW guy for a long time. He's definitely been a WoW guy for a long time, and the fact that you see somebody like him moving over to playing Final Fantasy is meaningful. It is absolutely meaningful. It's huge. Finally surpassed World of Warcraft. Time to start playing, I guess. And so this is what I'm saying, like a person like this, right? This is somebody who is looking for a reason. People want to jump on a bandwagon. Nobody wants to play a game that's dying. Oh, this is Slootbag. Let's see what Sloot has to say. If true, or even if not, this is a positive thing because it creates competition in the genre. This should stimulate WoW to be on their toes more and benefit some ideas from what works for Final Fantasy, which is ideally leads to their improvement. See, Sloot's got the right idea here. This is completely what I think too. This is 100% true. Yeah, because Blizzard does need competition. And if Blizzard doesn't have any competition for the game gets worse. Yeah, he's right about that, absolutely. And that's what I said earlier too. Is that WoW is usually at its best whenever it has to compete with other games. Congratulations, you deserve it, Yoshi P and team. Yeah, I think it's definitely, like, one thing you can absolutely say, regardless of if this article is true or not, you can absolutely say that the Final Fantasy community seems to love their game a lot more than the WoW players. And I think that means something. It does. That definitely fucking means something. Now, whether that's a good or a bad thing it's up to you, right? Cult behavior is not good, fanboyism is not good, and neither is blindly hating things like people in WoW do as well. So it depends on how you want to look at it. So that's how I see it, man. A little too much, in my opinion. Yes, I agree. But that's all I'm trying to get at.